Guard. Call 1-800-LEAF Guard now.
A life-saving exercise video, Saturday on 6 ABC.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Cecily Tynan, Rick Williams, and Monica Malpass.
Good afternoon. In the news,
rescuers' best efforts, are not enough to save a child from a fire in Philadelphia. And cyanide-laced smoke from a warehouse turns an entire community into a ghost town.
But the big story on Action News this noon is a New Jersey downpour, an overnight torrential downpour so dreadful that a state of emergency has been declared for Atlantic County, New Jersey, with many communities underwater. This is the result of nearly 14 inches of rain in just a few hours. Take a look at the pictures. The deluge dropped more than 4 times the normal average rainfall for the entire month. The Atlantic County communities of Egg Harbor Township, Mays Landing, Hamilton Township, Linwood, Northfield, and others are awash in floodwaters this noon. Hundreds of residents have been rescued from their homes by boat. Others remain cut off. Flooded cars and trucks abandoned by their drivers litter the highways, and power is out to thousands of customers. Well, the Action News team has been on the scene covering the rains, flooding, and damage since it started overnight. We have a series of live reports and updates from Atlantic County about the emergency efforts and where the floodwaters stand now. And we begin with New Jersey correspondent Lisa Quintana, who is live on the action cam in the Mays Landing area. Lisa.
Well, Rick, I'm at Old Egg Harbor Road, and as you can see, there's about 2 feet of water on the road right here. It's the same story all throughout Hamilton Township, which is why township officials have declared a state of emergency.
Come on, let's go. We got 3 more back there, and the water's going up.
Rescue workers raced against rising floodwaters. Elderly residents were in harm's way. Babcock Creek was overflowing onto Old Egg Harbor Road. Teresa DeMille and her invalid husband were the first to evacuate.
It's just a mess.
What was her health like?
A mess. Flooded. About 4 feet of water in it.
What was she doing when you got back there?
Just waiting, taking care of her husband. Her husband's on oxygen, in bad shape.
The pressure of the flood water ruptured gas mains all over Hamilton Township. You can see the gas bubbling up through the water. The water was too much for the Gravelly Run Bridge. Flash flooding washed out Route 559. We found this mother and daughter at McDonald's. Their home sits on the banks of Gravelly Run Creek. They, too, were forced to leave.
I have nowhere to go. Just my daughter and I. And I left all our animals at home. We just grabbed the dog, but I don't know about our cats and all.
And the people who live here on Old Egg Harbor Road are trying to salvage whatever they can. They are taking all of their belongings out of their home, everything from big pieces of furniture to their clothing. Right now there is a state of emergency in Mays Landing in Hamilton Township, that is. And basically what that means is that they don't want ordinary people, cars on the roads. They want to keep them clear so emergency vehicles can get through. You don't want to drive on these roads either. They are really clogged up. There's lots of water everywhere. Reporting live on the Action Cam, I'm Lisa Quintana in Mays Landing.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Well, throughout South Jersey, the scene is a very wet one. From the air, you can get a better idea of how widespread the flooding is. This is over Galloway Township. Road after road is full of water. And in Absecon, the rain pushed this reservoir over its banks, flooding neighboring roads. Overnight in Pomona, the rain made for big problems at a local hospital. This is the Atlantic City Medical Center, and as you can see, it is flooded. Crews spent much of the night trying to pump water out of the building. The medical center had to stop accepting new patients for the night. And in Egg Harbor, the storms made for a scary night for residents of this home. The pounding rain and flooding damaged its foundation.
Also hit hard by the rains, the Atlantic City Airport in Pomona. This is Amelia Earhart Boulevard leading into the airport. 4 feet of water cover the road and a couple of cars on it. As a result, airport officials have had to suspend all outgoing flights, leaving many passengers wondering when they're going to be able to travel next.
Can't seem to get to, she's going back to Florida and we can't go, she can't get on the plane.
I got a 10-something plane to catch.
To Fort Lauderdale that we'll never get to.
The airport's closed.
The airport is closed,
All right.
I gather.
Well,
so,
then we'll go home, turn around, go home.
And try and get on a plane tomorrow.
Airport officials are asking the public to stay away until they can get the roads cleared and flights moving again. The rain and flooding are making travel all throughout southern New Jersey difficult this noon. As we have mentioned, the massive downpours also clobbered the Pomona area overnight. That's where New Jersey correspondent Kathy Gandolfo is live with emergency efforts there. Kathy.
Well, Rick, it's really an incredible sight here in Galloway Township. Just about everywhere you go, there are enormous puddles on the sides of roads. People's lawns are underwater. And take a look at this gas station behind me. You can see that the islands have literally become islands surrounded by water, and in many places it's even worse. Residents of the Pomona section of Galloway Township are in disbelief. This area, not far from Route 30, the White Horse Pike, is still underwater, and folks say they have never seen anything quite like it.
11 o'clock when my husband came home, everything was fine. At 12:25 this morning, my daughter came down to tell me that my car was a boat. The water was up to the middle of the window.
Brand new car?
Brand new car, 2 payments.
These are not flood-prone areas, and most people don't have flood insurance. This retention basin along Donna Lane has become a giant pond, enough water that some were actually canoeing. While children seem to be enjoying the adventure, it is all quite serious. Gas pilot lights in basements were snuffed out by the water, so gas companies and fire departments have been out all morning helping to light them. The South Egg Harbor Fire Company was also helping to pump out the water from basements, but even this is a difficult task.
We're pumping out actually a street, so we have somewhere to pump the water out of the basement into the street. That's the problem we're running into. The level that's in the basements is actually equal to the level outside the house, so you have nowhere to pump.
Now, many of the streets and roads here in Galloway Township are still closed in spots, even as the water is receding. Just a short while ago, Galloway Township Police told me that alternate Route 561 between Pomona and Pitney roads has washed away. It is a road that leads to the town of Smithville. So that road is definitely closed. They say it has washed away. There will be a great deal of cleaning up yet to do as folks remain in disbelief that this freak storm hit them so hard. Reporting live on the Action Cam from Pomona in Galloway Township, I'm Kathy Gandolfo.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Emergency workers, of course, have had their hands full all day and night. As you've been seeing, they've been dealing with closed bridges, leaking fuel tanks, and flooded businesses. Mike Sherman, the Atlantic County Emergency Management Coordinator, joins us live by telephone with more on that. And Mike, thank you for joining us. As we talk with you, we're going to look at some more pictures of all the flooding. Let's start by asking, when did you realize just how bad the weather was getting to activate your emergency command center?
Well, about 8 o'clock last night when we realized that we were going to get a lot more water at the time of high tide than we did. And then by 11 o'clock, when we started to look at possibly evacuating some motels along the Black Horse Pike, we realized this wasn't just going to be a heavy downpour.
Right.
Then after midnight, when we received something like 3.5 inches of rain during an hour period from 11:30 to 12:30 at the airport, that's a lot of rain. We knew that we were in trouble.
Now, hundreds of people were trapped. You had to rescue them. How did you get to them all and get them out of there?
Well, the people that had to be rescued, either National Guard trucks or local emergency management vehicles, four-wheel vehicles, fire trucks, etc. Damages in our area, in Absecon alone, $7 million in damage. There was 5 feet of water at Route 9 and Route 30, which is a major artery going into Atlantic City. A Mercedes-Benz dealership and a hardware store received a lot of damage, but that's one community. So there's millions of dollars of damages to the interior sections of Atlantic County, in particular, Egg Harbor Township, Hamilton Township, Galloway Township, and Absecon.
How many workers did you have to press into service to get everyone out?
We were activated this morning, something like 4:20 this morning, but the local municipalities throughout the night have been working with their entire crews.
And you've seen a lot of crises, Mike. How does this one rate?
I cannot remember when the interior sections of Atlantic County has received this much rainfall. To understand the magnitude, 13.52 inches of rain fell on the Atlantic City Airport in Egg Harbor Township. The state record, all-time record, was in 1939, 14.81 inches in Tuckerton.
All right, Mike Sherman, thank you very much from the Atlantic County Emergency Management Center for joining us live by telephone. Thank you.
Now, for all the facts and figures on last night's rain, let's go outside to Cecily Tynan with the latest from AccuWeather. Cecily.
That's right, Rick. It does take a unique set of circumstances to create a storm of such magnitude. Action radar showing the story since midnight last night. Now, the Philadelphia area not really receiving much in the form of rainfall at that time, but take a look at that line of red and yellow working up from central Delaware through New Jersey, through the coast, That was a line of thunderstorms that just kept regenerating hour after hour. This is not normally what happens during typical summer storms. Normally, this is what happens. They head from the west to the east month. Estelle Manor, also more than 12.5 inches of rain. Millville, New Jersey, nothing to sneeze at either, close to 10 inches. And Dover, Delaware was also hit very hard, close to 9 inches of rain. Now, looking up, we're seeing the sunshine reemerge, and that means a drying trend, but we still have a slight chance for some thunderstorms this afternoon. We'll tell you what to expect coming up in the AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Monica?
All right, thank you, Cecily.
This WeatherScope is sponsored by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning.
This is WeatherScope.
Oh, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. I'm Rich Johnson, with Jill Brown, and we're still following some of the rain in New Jersey. It's still a wet day in New England.
Oh, yeah. This storm system actually, while the bulk of the heavy rain will move out, it's still going to be kind of damp and cloudy and cool for a few days. Some people are happy about the cool
Yeah,
weather.
not so bad. Cool if you like the cool weather for late August.
Yeah, I know people like Jim Cantore and Mike Bono would be loving that. So maybe if you are from New England, you love it as well. We'll check out the schedule. We'll check out the forecast.
Here it is. Let's see what's up.
All right, let's
Live
start.
TV, don't you love it?
Let's start in New Jersey and show you about some of the problems that we've had. This looks like a mess. We had as much as 13 inches of rain reported in New Jersey in 12 hours' time. The heaviest overall fell in about 6 hours during the overnight, where they had 8 inches of rain, and you can see flooding resulted. The rain did move out first thing this morning, but not without some problems. In Boston, on the other hand, a little bit of rain, but this looks like a nightmare. It's a windy day. Strong winds from the same area of low pressure that produced the rain in New Jersey brought the strong winds in, and there goes the hat. Uh-oh. There you go. Good Samaritan there helping them out. Very windy day. Gale warnings, flood warnings have been in effect in response to the strong winds, kind of pushing all the water toward the coastline. So we'll show you where the warnings, advisories are in just a moment. First, our radar estimate of precipitation. Now I'm going to put this into motion in a moment. You can see here where the bullseye is over New Jersey. That's where the heaviest rain was. This ended at 8 o'clock this morning. So the grand tallies, according to this, it looks like somewhere between 8 and 10. And as mentioned, a couple locations came in with more than a foot of rain. All right, let's put the radar into motion, and you can see New Jersey is free and clear of rain now. There might still be some minor problems with flooding because we had so much during the overnight hours. Otherwise, it's more scattered light showers coming up into New England at this time. Nothing quite as heavy as what we saw yesterday. A thin band of showers and thunder showers here, moving into northern Pennsylvania and western New York State. Not much rain around Cleveland. Not too many thunderstorms through here, although Bradford, Pennsylvania was reporting some rain. And look at this. What a wet day. Providence, Worcester, Springfield, all that rain moving directly to the north. The only thing good about this, I guess, is that it's not as heavy as what we had last night. So this area of low pressure, the main culprit, again, bringing the strong winds in from the Atlantic. So flood warnings are in effect where you see the red, flood watches where you see the orange, and we also have gale warnings in effect. A windy, wet, and chilly day. These temperatures haven't changed. Now, I would think, now something's wrong with that. Maybe we better double check it, but I think it's right. Burlington, Vermont, Albany, you've been about 58 for about 3 hours now, something like that. Washington, of course, your temperature's going up. A little sun there, and down to the south, making for a very nice day. 82 Charleston, 79 Atlanta. That doesn't seem like typical August weather, but we do have some drier, cooler air coming down, and it'll actually get down to Florida, we think, eventually. So hang tight, some nicer weather coming your way. But in the meantime, we have some showers around Ocala and a few more thunderstorms as you get down to Orlando, Titusville, and on south. We've had some marine advisories around the Titusville area. Rough seas, some strong winds can be expected here. We'll keep you up to date on the thunderstorm activity in Florida and elsewhere. Rich?
Okay, Jill, let's see what's going on elsewhere. And checking the Great Lakes, we have some showers today. Not quite as cold as yesterday, not quite as wet either. We just have a few showers scattered about. So chances are, if you live other areas in the Midwest, you won't really see too many. We saw some of those showers in eastern Ohio and heading into Pennsylvania. Clouds beginning to bubble up some with some of the sunshine. It's very cold aloft, and once you get heating, that it increases what we call the lapse rate there. a fancy term for meaning more favorable for showers and thunderstorms developing in that area where it is very cold aloft. Farther to the west, northwesterly winds forming some thunderstorms across Nebraska. We have lots of moisture from Nebraska into western Kansas at the low levels of the atmosphere, and that's setting up some conditions that are somewhat favorable today for thunderstorms developing. Here's a few of the showers northwest of Saginaw, also over to around Benton Harbor. Reports of rain the last hour. Thunder showers, that one little line that formed near Lincoln earlier, went down to around Topeka. That's all that's left. A few fading showers. Those will actually begin to continue to dissipate, and the reason for that is farther southeast we're heading, that's heading into drier and drier air, so that moisture is getting evaporated. Meanwhile, where the moisture source is a little bit more plentiful, showers and some thunderstorms. In the western United States, we see some showers continuing central Arizona, also into northeast Montana. Temperatures not terribly hot by any stretch of the imagination, although into the southwest it is a little bit mild. And you know what, looking at the forecast over about the next 5 days plus, this ridge of high pressure in the west, it's going to stick around. So we're going to look at a fairly mild pattern across the plains and into the southwest. Today, plenty of clear skies, Washington, Oregon, Northern California. Clear skies now around San Francisco, but you can see earlier down toward the Southland, some clouds, marine layer evaporates, and the low clouds and fog go along with it. Lightning data, white indicates the most recent cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, some active storms in Utah now, and also the Mogollon Rim, as well as west central New Mexico. You can see a few of these here. Additional storms over to near Flagstaff, Prescott, all the way up to the Grand Canyon, although recently those storms have calmed down and just more of a general type of rain. Again, here are the current conditions. What's going on with the forecast? Here's Jill.
All right, thanks, Rich. We jump to Friday morning and see that this area of low pressure is ready to scram on out of here. Unfortunately, the second low doesn't seem to be moving quite so quickly. So damp weather, not heavy rain like we've had in the last 24 hours, but kind of damp and dreary weather will be with you from probably Michigan, Ohio, all the way over toward Boston and Massachusetts. Florida, still some scattered thunderstorms. Texas, chance of a few thunderstorms. And we'll have isolated thunderstorms producing some brief bouts with heavy rain in the Intermountain West. And looks like temperatures, well, over the next couple of days, basically hot in the west and cool in the east. And Rich, that's kind of been the popular theme this summer.
Yeah, starting from spring now through summer, and it looks like fall's going to start that way too. Well, coming up next here at the Weather Channel, we'll continue to follow some rain in the northeast and thunderstorms building in the plains.
We'll be checking more radars coming up on TravelWise after your local forecast.